Tar Heel basketball, you're talking about Coach Williams and his all-ACC first-team superstar, Tyler Hansbrough. The multi-talented sophomore and his teammates have set their eyes on the conference championship and beyond. The third-ranked team in the nation has already dismantled Tennessee, Ohio State, and Kentucky. A great way to spend a Saturday afternoon in December. The Tar Heels at home against UNC Asheville, ACC College Hoops, and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Next.
We are set for the number 3 ranked Tar Heels, and their head coach Roy Williams got a little early Christmas present from the man in Carolina blue, and tasting something sweet for Roy Williams, as he did about a week ago with his 500th career victory. Let's take a look at our starting lineups. Pretty much the same for the Tar Heels: Terry, Wright, Hansbrough, Lawson, and Ellington. But 9 different UNC Asheville players have started, and they're tinkering with their lineups again tonight. Vincent James getting only his 2nd start of the year. C.J. Walker, a shot blocker, getting his 3rd start of the year. Walker set to jump it up against Brandon Wright, and we are ready. Hansbrough quickly on top, gives it up to the freshman Ty Lawson.
Normally Eddie Biedenbaugh likes to settle on 5 guys, but he's kind of tinkered with his lineup, got different guys who stepped up at different times. Ryan, whoever's playing well gets to start that next game.
And he said the people that don't start aren't necessarily our 5 best players. Yep. Only 1 loss for the Tar Heels. That's at Gonzaga. They did not play well in that ball game, didn't shoot well. Gonzaga over 50%, both from the floor and three-point line. Hansbrough, Ellington with 5 on the shot clock. Back to Hansbrough. Goes right around C.J. Walker, but he walked with it. First turnover of the ball game for North Carolina. They average about 15 a game. They've had only a couple of games. Negative assist-to-turnover ratio for Roy Williams. 19th year. Got his first win versus Alaska Anchorage. Got over 500 versus High Point.
And I think that's something that Tyler Hansbrough has a tendency to do sometimes. He will shuffle his feet inside. That was a good call by Tommy Wood. He moved his pivot foot. The good news for UNC Asheville, Ron, is that they have the guards, I think, to at least handle the pressure that North Carolina is going to throw at them early, which was a change from last year's game.
Absolutely. This is Smithson, Brad Smithson, the junior out of Kennesaw, Georgia. Shot clock at 8. Lawson doing a nice job on him. Goes right through the pick. Garland with 2. The fall away. Rebound tipped around. Ellington comes up with it. Or I should say Brandon Wright.
Well, Eddie Biedenbaugh wants to slow the pace of the game down and use as much of the shot clock as he can, but if they get a good early jump shot, they will take that.
They can't afford to pass up any 15-footer, can they?
No, it's just too good and too athletic a team that they're facing.
Another offensive rebound for Hansbrough. Takes it up strongly. Walker got a piece of it, his first block, but the putback still won't go. UNC Asheville has it.
Walker is a shot blocker and a presence inside. Looks like he bothered Hansbrough with his length. Stayed on his feet, didn't go for the pump fake.
Smithson, nice pump fake. Gives it up. Garland, wide open look from 3. Neither team finding the hoop, and we're about 2 minutes into this. Wright gets the bounce, and it drops. Brandon Wright averaging about 15 points a game for the freshman out of Nashville.
He's second among freshmen in the ACC. And there's always a little rust. You come off a week off, especially exam week. It's such a taxing week mentally that it takes you a little bit more to get into a game. So not surprising, North Carolina off to a little bit of a slow start.
Smithson, beautiful shot. He floats left, shoots right. He's averaging about 16 a game. Started his career at Middle Tennessee. Transferred over to UNC Asheville.
He's going to be coming in and out. He's got a bit of a hamstring problem, and Eddie Biedenbaugh wants to play him in short stints.
The turnaround won't go. The Bulldogs with another rebound.
It's going to be a big key for UNC Asheville, competing on the boards. They got out-rebounded by 18 by UNC Charlotte, only lost that game by 8.
Well, coming into the lineup, Brett Warner, number 1 for UNC Asheville, the junior out of Smyrna, Tennessee, also checking into the lineup for them. Donovan Jones, number 11. Deion Thompson also in for North Carolina.
Asheville does have some size along the front line, so they're going to be able to compete with the same athletic ability.
Knocking it home is Vincent James. That's a 3. That's only his 2nd three-pointer made this year. Ellington tries to duplicate it, and he does. And he gets his 16th of the year.
Oh, he's got a beautiful stroke. Nice skip pass that time. Gave him a little bit of room to get that shot off.
There's the double. North Carolina worked on that extensively yesterday during practice. From deep in the corner, another three. In and off the hands of Joey Harrell. Bulldogs retain possession.
That's where North Carolina will jump you immediately over half court. And what UNC Asheville did well there is stay in the middle of the court.
Well, Joey Harrell didn't wait for anybody to get open. He knocks down his first jumper. He averages 6 a ball game, and the Bulldogs lead it by 2.
A great start for UNC Asheville, which was critical in this game to come in here and establish yourself offensively. Big confidence builder.
Lawson, the right-hander. Rebound by Warner. You and I were talking earlier, Mike, that you said it's got to be that first 8 minutes.
Yeah, and it's something they didn't do last year. They were down 39-9 the first 12 minutes into the game. But Ron, right now, UNC settling for jump shots in this game.
James hustling for the rebound, just getting to the loose balls now. Garland, the junior out of Greensboro, North Carolina, didn't play last year because of an ankle injury. Harrell with 6 on the shot clock, gives it up in the corner. Donovan Jones in traffic. 1. They're not going to get a shot off. Good defense by the Tar Heels. We have the number 3 team in the country who also have the tallest player in the country. We'll tell you about that when we return. UNC Asheville with a 2-point lead over the number 3 team in the country, but the Bulldogs do have something that nobody else has in the country. Third member of our broadcast team, Jen Hildreth, with more on that. Jen.
Well, Ron, today's game gives you and the fans a chance to see the tallest player in America in the form of the Bulldogs' 7'7" sophomore center, Kenny George. Now, he's listed at 7'6" in the media guide. That's not a typo. He's actually grown an inch since the season started, and he's actually has the distinction of being the tallest player to suit up in the NCAA in the last 10 years. But he can make a difference when he comes into games. He's had some injuries. We do expect to see him in this game, and against Virginia, remember, guys, he had 5 blocks, including 3 in a 10-second span.
You know, Jen, yesterday you and I were talking about him to Eddie Beanbach as the basket goes down for Tyler Hansbrough, and he said, yeah, but he's got about an 1.5 inches worth of insoles in there. He's 7'9" with his tennis shoes on, Mike.
Unbelievable. It reminds me a lot of a guy I played against in the NBA, George Murison. You see the feet there. And that, you get to the free throw line, it's like an 18-foot shot now. It's a disadvantage. But with Hansbrough there on that play, Tyler Hansbrough getting inside the first points in the paint for North Carolina in this game, so aggressively attacking inside for the first time.
Hansbrough completes the 3-point play, solid from the free throw line at 71% on the year, and North Carolina has the 1-point advantage. Just about 5 minutes this past here in the opening half. Glad you're with us. Smithson, double figures all 9 games. Mike mentioned a couple of injury problems. Took about a 2-minute breather. Trying to shorten the game. Thompson overplaying Harrell.
And Lawson really getting into Smithson and pressuring him.
And they look up in the shot clock at 5. Garland hasn't seen the clock. They try with a back door for the second consecutive possession. They'll turn it over. One of the problems for Eddie Beanbach and his team is the offensive struggles. You can see last in the conference in scoring, next to last in assists and shooting.
It's one thing to shorten the game, which you're accomplishing, but you've got to get a shot for every possession that you come down. I think UNC Asheville needs to start looking for a shot a little bit sooner, maybe about the 15-second mark.
Carolina tries to go inside, whistle down low. Foul's going to be on Reed August, the sophomore out of Richmond, Virginia, who's checked into the lineup. Danny Green checking in for North Carolina, triggers the inbounds pass. Here's Lawson. Bobby Frazier's been hurting, as has Quentin Thomas, so he's got point guard duties, and Ellington drops down the 3.
That's one way to shoot a team out of the zone, to be consistent from the outside. Bulldogs sitting back, daring North Carolina to beat them over the top, and Ellington's just the guy who's going to step up and give that a lash.
North Carolina takes about 17 threes a game, hitting at 36%. Smithson lost the handle. North Carolina's Lawson comes down and looks to push. 4 on 2. Ellington dips, doesn't get it. Green can't get it. Here comes Smithson with Warner on his right. He'll pull up. Harrell had it, lost it. Here comes Lawson again, right around Smithson. And Thompson tried to force the pass a little bit too late. North Carolina will have it.
Well, here's the look on the inbounds pass, and back over to the weak side. You want to make the defense move, so throw it back to the weak side. Backcourt mates working very well, but I think, you look in this last little stretch run that UNC Asheville has done a nice job getting back 2 times to stop transition and not letting North Carolina get any points as a result.
Now Wes Miller has the basketball, has just checked in, as has Marcus Ginyard for North Carolina. Miller, one of the great stories from last year. Another 3, and they're trying to get him out of the zone. Rayshawn Terry drops it down, his 9th of the year. A 9-0 Tar Heel run.
Well, you have to pick something against North Carolina. And for this team, you've got to build the defense in and out. And right now, North Carolina is trumping you by hitting 3-point shots. You have to make a decision.
We're seeing also North Carolina shuttling a lot of players in here early. They had a shortened lineup last year. Roy Williams said last season, one of the most satisfying he ever had. Now he's got the luxury of a lot of players. Walker, his shot won't go. Rebound control by Brandon Wright.
Asheville has not scored since that first TV timeout.
Terry just rattles it around. Rayshawn Terry, the senior out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, averaging 9 a game. He's got 5 tonight. We're going to take a timeout. Eddie Beanbaugh doesn't like it. It's going to be a 30-second timeout. Rayshawn Terry, you talk about him though, Mike. Here's a guy emotionally up and down throughout his career. Had 16-9 versus Kentucky. It seems like last year he took another level, but they really need him to take it up another notch this season.
Well, and you look at him, he does a lot of things for you. He's a very good rebounder. He's had 8 or more rebounds in 5 of the 8 games, and then I think that was a big part of it last year. He can shoot the basketball. There are just so many more options that Roy Williams has this year. Ball movement, you find the little seam in the zone right at the top. Asheville spread out a little bit too far. And Terry is so much more taller than the backcourt for the Bulldogs that he can just elevate and get that shot anytime he wants at the front of the zone.
Jen, you have more on Rayshawn Terry?
Well, I talked to him a couple of days ago, and the biggest thing with Rayshawn that both he and Coach Williams feels that he's grown up a lot in his time here and he's matured. I tell you, the one thing he said more than anything else when I talked to him was, I just try to do what Coach Williams says, and that's what I try to get the young guys to believe in, too.
And consider, this guy was only a second-team All-State player as a senior, and I'm talking about coming a long way in 4 years. He's done an incredible job. The offense has been always there, but I think the thing for Roy Williams is that he's elevated the rest of his game.
Fouls on Tyler Hansbrough. That's his first. And at the line, it'll be Vincent James, the junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And this is a good thing. If you're UNC Asheville, you're in a little scoring drought, try to get to the free throw line, get some layups, get some easy points, find that rhythm again.
Because when you're struggling against a great team, as Kenny George is going to check into the lineup, you got to find a way to get easy baskets.
Yeah, and it's not always the easiest thing in the world.
Well, Kenny George is into the lineup out of Chicago, Illinois. He's taken 3 field goal attempts in the 1 game he's played. He's 2 for 3.
Tough to get a perspective on his size. Just wait till Hansbrough is standing next to him, and then you get a feel for how big he is.
Hansbrough's 6'9". Beanbaugh hitting with us yesterday saying, I'm just going to put him down one end of the court. Let our guys go down and play offense with 4 of them. Right, inside, tap the basket. 7'7" miss.
That was actually C.J. Walker who got the foul. He got 7-7 and 7-1, but this is what you want to try to do. Get the big fella away from the basket, put it on the floor, and make him move laterally, and that's exactly what Brandon Wright's strength is, especially you let him go to his left hand, and that's a tough thing to cover.
Brandon Wright, 4 points in the ball game. See field goal percentage. Outstanding. He's threatening Sam Perkins' rookie record here at North Carolina. He's got 5 now in the ball game. 11-point lead for Carolina. Asheville had a 7-5 lead, and the Tar Heels just went crazy.
When was the last time you saw 2 7-footers on the floor for a team at one time?
There you go, Hansbrough. You can see he's trying to guard somebody. 7-7. James from the outside. C.J. Walker tried to tip it. Ginyard has it. Gives it up. Wes Miller. Nice pass inside. Wright has it blocked, but we've got a whistle and a foul. Timeout on the court, 11:41 to play in the first half. Number 3, North Carolina leading UNC Asheville 19-8. North Carolina shooting the ball well. They're over 53%, which is over their season high, but this is how well they've been shooting the ball this year, Mike.
They've been, and consider that they have not shot the ball well from the free throw line, but the first in field goal percentage, 90 points a game, and they've been very good in this game, considering that Asheville's playing a zone. They're starting to knock down their three-pointers. Ellington with 3, and then Rayshon Terry knocks down 1 as well, and that's a great way to bust out of a zone, is to knock down perimeter shots.
6 players are shooting better than 50% from the field. No North Carolina team has done that since 90-91. That tells you how special this team is. Brandon Wright at the line.
Well, I always equate team field goal percentage with point guard play. And one, you've got to have the talent, which clearly North Carolina does. But, in Frazier and Lawson, they've got point guards who are making good decisions and delivering the basketball. So I always thought that was a direct correlation between the two.
Full-court pressure put on by North Carolina. 4th turnover for UNC Asheville. Rayshon Terry hasn't missed a shot, throws it away. Smithson goes into the crowd. 31 on the shot clock. You just look at this North Carolina team, and they are just so deep. And everybody was talking about, the players that Roy Williams has added, and this, that, whatever, and how you going to play all those people. And his comment to everybody beginning of the summer was, I'm going to let the players decide. They'll play themselves into a rotation in a lineup.
Well, and the big key there is that they've had unbelievable practices. Team 1 and Team 2, not a lot of separation between there, and there's a lot of competition, and that just gets you better as a team.
Brandon Wright with a slam. He's got 9 in the ball game already.
And I don't know from last year to this year anybody who's sacrificed more than Wes Miller. Coming out of the starting lineup, he gave up his scholarship. His minutes are down, but that was a beautiful pass inside to Brandon Wright.
Here's a guy that got the kudos from all his players. Ginyard, French pastry.
That's tough to do, and Garland is a very, very capable ball handler, and he just stripped him in the open floor.
Well, that hit off the leg of Joey Harrell. That's why it's over and back.
Now here's the luck, and as a defender, you got to have active hands, and his sight line was just too good, but that was a great pass off the dribble. And then in the open floor, Ginyard, their best on-ball defender, does what he does best.
How about that?
That's efficient offense right there. If you're a coach, you love to see that. 7 assists on 9 made field goals.
Smithson on the break, takes it to the hole, misses the layup. Lawson's got it.
And that's hustle by Tyler Hansbrough to not concede that layup.
Another dunk by Wright. He's got 11 in the ball game.
Now that gives you a good indication of why he's second in the conference in field goal shooting. He gets them at point-blank range.
Second highest field goal percentage among freshmen in the NCAA. UNC Asheville now over 6 minutes without a field goal.
You can see right now Carolina's starting to amp the pressure up, and that was a good answer by Garland. It looked like the pace of the game starting to get away from Asheville. Hopefully that settles them down.
Garland's first 3 of the game. Hansbrough, little jump stop, goes inside. It's going to be a blocking foul in the lane. Hansbrough will go to the line. Yesterday during practice, we saw him kind of ding his knee up, put a little ice on it. Seems to be okay today, though.
Eddie Biedenbach talked to us before the game about outside of Walker and obviously George, there aren't a lot of shot blockers for UNC Asheville. They talked about trying to step in and draw the charge, and especially against the big guy, he's got that opportunity with Hansbrough, but a little too late on the slide.
Stevenson couldn't get it. Hansbrough in traffic, just works his way. The tip by Stevenson. Alex Stevenson, the freshman out of Harvard Westlake High School in L.A. Quickly down the other way. We've got a whistle and a foul.
That was nice transition in North Carolina. A little asleep that time, getting back on a made basket, but Donovan Jones doing a nice job pushing the ball up the floor on the dribble, catches them unawares.
Just down the road from Wilson, North Carolina, Donovan Jones is. Tomorrow, ACC Sunday Night Hoops returns when the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on Virginia Tech in an early season clash between conference rivals. It begins at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, right here on FSN. Jones drops them both. 60% from the line on the year, 100% this afternoon. Lead is 16, though, for North Carolina. Berry, couple of dribbles, nice spin move, lost the handle. Stevenson on the inside, he's got 4. Doubling his season average.
Couple of good strip attempts, but if you do that, you've got to somehow come up with the basketball. North Carolina, nice job staying with the possession.
Darling keeps the handle on it. Jones tries to go around Hansbrough, doesn't get it. Stevenson the rebound. Quick outlet to Ty Lawson, looking to push it. You look at this UNC Asheville team. This is a team, a hard luck team last year. Eddie Biedenbach. You lose both centers. You lose a starting point guard. You have nobody that can bring the ball up, nobody that can rebound. And yet he said, yes, it was disappointing, but not because of the losses. He said it was disappointed because of the attitude of the team. He says, yeah, we have injuries, but we still should have won. And he wanted to change the attitude of this team coming in this year. He says it's gradually becoming better.
And it's their best win total this early in the season since the 2000 season. So a little bit of positive movement, but this game starts a 5-game road trip for this team. So they've got their work cut out for themselves before they get into conference play.
Hardy's played some tough teams, played Virginia, got that down to 8 late in the game, only to lose. Lawson around Warner. The 3 won't go. Harrell tries to tap it. Stevenson, he's got 6 in the ball game.
Nice job on the offensive glass that time, and even when North Carolina misses in this last stretch, they're cleaning up the glass.
Offensive rebounding is a big strength for North Carolina. Shot by Warner is blocked. Out of the pack is Ellington. Lawson, one of the fastest point guards you'll ever see, blows to the hole. His first 2 of the game.
And that's the thing, when you're getting ready to play North Carolina, you can't replicate the speed in practice, and I think it just stuns people at how quickly Lawson gets up the floor.
Well, Joey Harrell took little time pulling the trigger on that 3-pointer. He's got 5 in the ball game, but the lead is still at 19. Another turnover by North Carolina.
Lawson had been much better in the last few games, and so did the Open in his last 18 assists, only 4 turnovers, but that a risky pass.
Brett Warner from the outside, he hits the 3. 2 in a row now for the Bulldogs. And the lead is down to 16.
Well, if you look at league stats, North Carolina 12th in defending the 3 coming into this game, and if you think they've got some people for Asheville who can step outside and knock that shot down.
On the inside, we've got a whistle and a foul. Troy Williams says Ty Lawson's one of the fastest you'll ever see. Proves it there. The Tar Heels with a 16-point advantage. Let's take a look at our Dodge game summary. And right now, Brandon Wright, the star of the game. Once again, double figures, 9 straight games. Only Rashad McCants has done that in the last 20 years. And the points in the paint, though, huge.
And that's been the big difference, and they scored all of those in the last 10 minutes. They were a little jump shot happy early on.
Well, here's a little bit about UNC Asheville, about 130 miles west of Charlotte. Under 3,500 enrollment, perfect class size at 20. They were an NAI school for a number of years, went to the NAI tournament, also went to the NCAA tournament in 2003 where they won the Big South in that year, lost to Texas Southern, and then lost to Rick Barnes in the tournament. Rick Barnes, former assistant under Coach Beaton Davidson, as a matter of fact.
It's amazing, because they had Bob McKillop and Jeff Bedzulik on that team. Bedzulik now out at Air Force and McKillop at Davidson, so not a bad coaching tree for Eddie Beaton.
He has some great stories, too, telling us about his playing days, North Carolina State. Coach Maravich, Coach Sloan. Wright's got them both. He's got 13 in the ball game, and it's now stretched back to 18. Just about 7 minutes left to play in the half.
Actually, Everett Case was his coach for 2 games and then got ill, and that's when Press Maravich took over for him. So 3 coaches.
Reed August airballs the 3. Harrell tries to keep it alive right into the hands of Ellington. Thompson inside. Deion Thompson, a freshman from Torrance, California.
So you can't have a live ball turnover like that. If you're UNC athlete, you have to accept that turnover on the baseline and not try to save it so you can get back and set your defense up and not give up 3 points.
There's the double. Harrell tries to get through it, gets it to Big Kenny George. Can't put the handle on it. They're going to say it still belongs to North Carolina, though.
Here's the look, and that's just the first pass to a fast break right there. This team too quick in transition. Their bigs run extraordinarily well. That was just a nice decision.
Nice luxury to have somebody 7'7" when you're trying to inbound the pass and you got pressure on, you just throw it up in the air. Smithson, baseline. Oh, what a pretty shot by Brian Smithson.
Like in rugby when they inbound and they lift the guy up and throw it to him.
Yeah, really. And another two by Brandon Wright. He's already got 15 in the ball game. That's his average for the year.
But that's the problem, though. They negate the 7'7" George. He has trouble changing ends, and North Carolina's bigs just run very well end to end.
Lead back to 20 inside of 6 minutes. Garland airballs. Smithson steals for the hole. The high archer doesn't get it. No whistle, no foul. Harrell knocks it out. It'll belong to UNC Asheville. Marcus Ginyard coming back into the lineup for North Carolina.
Well, we talked about his athleticism and the hamstring issue, but you could see how explosive that Brian Smithson is getting into the rim. Nice left-handed finish.
Jen, you have more on Brian Smithson.
Yeah, he said that's where he's at his best, guys, getting in the lane and finishing as we've seen him do. But he said his challenge for this game is to try not to do too much and let the game come to him. And that's tough against a team like the Tar Heels because you want to create a spark and do everything you can for your team, but you can't push it and force things when they're not there.
Well, he shot 50% the last 4 games. Seems to be coming out of Kennesaw, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. Gateway to Marietta. Smithson, count the basket, and he'll go to the line.
Well, sometimes when the clock is winding down, you have to take the game over. And Smithson seeing that, really nothing happening on that possession. And that's against North Carolina's best defender, too, and Marcus Ginyard.
And we got our good look at Brian Smithson. Leads him in scoring, steals, 3-pointers made. Dean Boss says he's our go-to guy. Has to be. He's got 7 in the ball game. Lead down to 17, inside of 5.5 to play in the opening 20. Thompson sets a big pick for Rayshon Terry. Inside, Thompson will spin move, tries to kiss it off the glass. Nice job, Bulldog, keeping it alive. Now Wes Miller picks up Smithson. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Vincent James, who now has 6 in the ball game.
North Carolina reacting to the pump fakes on several times in the swing of the basketball. You've got to close out and keep your feet, get a hand up on the jump shooter.
Hansbrough tries to get it inside. This is a good news, bad news situation, isn't it, though, for North Carolina? You want your team with a big lead, but this time of the season, you're still trying to work on things, and you don't want your team getting lackadaisical on certain aspects of the contest.
Yeah, and for Roy Williams, he's going to be focused on the defensive end of the floor, and that's where he is going to find fault. He's not going to have a problem with the offense on this team. You know, if anything, he may have some decision-making issues, but defensively is where he wants his club to improve. And right now, the crowd kind of out of it.
Very much so.
You know, and then for UNC Asheville, that's a good thing. I mean, you want to have these people sitting back just enjoying an afternoon game, and it's not real loud. A lot of the students aren't here today.
Well, the only road game he's got is coming up against St. Louis. You can see from January 13th to the end of the season, 6 home games, 9 on the road.
But I think that's a great schedule for a young team because you can build your confidence, build your record up, and then you're battle-tested as you go on the road late in the season.
Billy Gillespie does that at Texas A&M. Hansbrough just took an elbow. They're going to call Walker for an offensive foul. That is number 2 on him. They cannot afford to lose the big guy.
Well, this is what you're taught to do, to try to clear through, but you can't clear through with your elbows up in the player's face. You've got to come across his body. Hansbrough doing a nice job of getting up and crowding Walker, who's probably not, real comfortable handling the ball 20 feet from the basket.
Terry's had an outstanding game. Goes inside. Tyler Hansbrough over Warner. Doesn't get the bounce. And they'll get another possession. Lawson, how quick was that first step, and he buries the jumper. 4 in the ball game for Ty Lawson.
Right, nice decision because he saw it was really compacted in the lane, really no place for him to go at the rim, so he's got that little pull-up jump shot.
Back door, nothing doing. Garland is fouled down the play. We've got a timeout. 3:57 to play in the ball game. Carolina with a handy lead over UNC Asheville. ACC College Hoops is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And by Best Buy, helping you wrap up the wow this holiday season. Visit bestbuy.com for ideas and information. On the campus of the University of North Carolina in beautiful Chapel Hill, the Bell Tower, North Carolina leads at 45-26. Along with Mike Kaminsky, Jen Hildreth, I'm Ron Thulin. And I don't think he needs an introduction. That's our producer. Let's go to Jen Hildreth. Jen.
Well, Ron, I've got a couple of parents here beside me, proud parents of Ty Lawson. This is George and Jacqueline. And George, I'll start with you because I've heard that you had Ty going through some dribbling drills at like the age of 5.
Yeah, I did. He wanted to follow me to the gym. So I asked him if he wanted to go to the gym with me. He had to work out and do some different type of drills. And he agreed to it. So we hung with it, just kept doing it. It paid off.
You took to it pretty well?
Oh, yeah. He loved it. I did it as a fun stage. I challenged him. I made him, try to beat me at certain things. And he loved it.
When was the first time he beat you?
Do I have to answer that question?
Or has he ever? Hey, you got the mic.
Yeah, he beat me at the age of about 12, 13. He started getting it, yeah.
Okay, so if you were the coach, then Jacqueline, I'm guessing you got the pom-pom. You're the cheerleader?
Right. Through the good and bad times, it doesn't matter. You got to cheer them on.
And is it fun getting to watch him play now here in North Carolina?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
It's not too long a drive for you guys, right?
No, about 4.5 hours.
Very good. Now, I just have to embarrass him a little bit because I also heard, George, that you had to take him not only to basketball tournaments, but to Pokemon trading card tournaments.
Yeah, that was he enjoyed the game. He enjoyed the game. But I didn't understand it. But I talked to him, and we made an agreement. If he did well in school, I'd support him anyway. And he wanted to go to the Pokemon tournament, so I took him.
Just glad he chose basketball. All right, Ron, let's go back to you.
All right, Rayshon Terry, though, heating it up. He hasn't missed a shot. Perfect from beyond the arc. George steps on the line. That's the 8th turnover in the ball game. Lawson, of course, just an outstanding player, and a lot of people say he's got that Raymond Felton ability to push the basketball. Do you agree?
As far as speed, too, and I also like, in fact, that I think he's going to be as durable as Felton was a big key. He's a very strongly built young man, and you like to have your guys on the floor all the time.
Hansbrough can't get it. Garland can with 2:53 left.
Nice look ahead.
Good look. The reverse, no. Danny Green got a piece of him. That'll be his first personal foul.
And if anything, Ron, I don't know that Roy Williams has been happy with his team's transition defense. There have been a few times now in the first 20 minutes where UNC Asheville has looked ahead and gotten either layups or to the free throw line.
And at the line, it'll be Vincent James out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Came off the bench against Furman to get a career high, 22 points. Started his career at Wabash Valley, Illinois College.
And Eddie Biedenbach told us beforehand that he's his best forward, but he's come off the bench because he didn't react well to starting early in the year. But clearly, I guess he found some confidence in him after that career-high game.
Green shot won't go. Brandon Wright, another rebound. Throws it away. Smithson's got Lawson to beat. This will be interesting. Nice move. Oh, it would have probably gone in. Instead, it was in the cylinder, touched by his own player. I think that was going down.
Yeah, it would have been close, and you want to try to lay off it because the whistle had already been blown, so give it a chance to go down. But Lawson getting back, altering the shot slightly. Yeah, I think that might have gone in.
Yeah.
This Vincent James a little over-aggressive, but again, you see the explosiveness, and we've talked about the speed of Lawson. Spitzer can move it up and down the floor pretty well in his own right.
He's got 8 in the ball game. Reed August will check back in. And Mr. James is probably going to have a talk with Mr. Biedenbach. He gets a shake instead. But by the way, don't touch it when it's on the rim.
Note to self.
I like Brian Smith. He's got what some people call a little booger in him. He's not afraid to get after people. Ty Lawson out front. Inside 2.5 to play. 18-point Carolina lead. Lawson splits the defense. George gets a piece of it and the rebound.
You know, unless somebody had a broom in practice, it's tough to replicate what he does out on the floor. You just don't see anything like that.
He doesn't have to jump. He probably has a little thick piece of toast reaching ability. Oh, my! Dunking without barely leaving your feet.
He's a crowd favorite here in the Smith Center already.
And I got a funny feeling that Danny Green felt that foul. Kenny George is about 360, not 335 as they list him.
Well, this is exactly what Eddie Biedenbaugh wants. Here's first, you don't even think you can get to that pass, and it's a great block. Not only that, but he gets the ball back, and then here's the nice play inside. Jumping like I used to jump, but about 10 inches taller than me.
Slide that 10-pound paper underneath your feet. At the line it is. Danny Green, sophomore from North Babylon, New York. Numbers on George. Green maybe had a little problem adapting early on last year to his role coming off the bench because he was such a big star in high school, but by January he seemed to be pretty comfortable in it.
That was their leading scorer at the end of the year off the bench.
He's got 2 in the ball game. Final minute and 50 to play in the opening half. It's the 4th meeting between these two teams. North Carolina owns a 3-0 lead. George, little jump hook. Oh, yeah, he's got 4.
It's been a very productive stint for Kenny George.
Hansbrough has it blocked, but we've got a whistle and a foul. Garrett Moles is the defender.
Right, again, he almost got in trouble by putting on the floor, but once he raises above his head, there isn't anybody who's going to go up and get that shot.
I think the crowd likes it too. They're cheering this young man on.
Right, it's just, and his biggest transition, or his biggest deficiency is transition, getting up and down the floor. In a half-court situation, got a nice touch, and he's a presence defensively.
And the fans give him a nice little applause. North Carolina has not missed a free throw this afternoon, 11 for 11.
Well, I think when he first walked on the floor, it was almost like a carnival sideshow that people were looking at him and laughing at him, but I think now he's shown he can play a little bit. I think there was a respect for his ability with that applause.
I'd like to see this young man get some self-confidence and realize I am 7'7". That's the way I was built, and enjoy it. Because, you can probably relate to this, Mike. When you're that big and you go through airports, no matter, people stare at you.
Well, it's funny. I played with Newt Bowl. People might remember, and I was, I walked around an amp with him, at 7 feet.
Wayne Ellington gets the deuce. He's got 8 in the ball game. 1:10 to play. Smithson's been the offense for UNC Asheville. James back in, tries to lean into Green. Good-looking shot. He's got 9. Ellington, guarded by Smithson. Tries to take him off the dribble, gives it up to Lawson. He'll launch the 3. Ellington the rebound, leans in. Doesn't get it. Rebound by Smithson, showing a little hops. Garland plants his feet, launches the 3.
And those are the ones you need to knock down. It's tough. You're in transition, but he had a nice open look, and that's what we talked about, open jump shots early.
Moles had it, lost it. James tracks down the loose rock. Final 26 seconds. Shot clock has been turned off.
4 freshmen and a sophomore out there for North Carolina right now. That's actually not a bad half for UNC Asheville.
No, not hardly. Little backdoor cut. Garland has it blocked by Lawson, but they'll whistle him for the foul. Coming up, the Accurate Halftime Report. We'll have highlights from our first half. Plus, we'll preview tomorrow's ACC Sunday Night Hoops matchup, which, of course, is Wake Forest and Virginia Tech. And Hildreth will talk about Tyler Hansborough's work ethic, which is legendary. Garland will go at the line for 2.
See that wrap on his leg. He's got shin splint issues, and that's from sitting out last year and then having to compete at a very high level this year. He's had to battle that, but it's feeling a lot better now. And Eddie Biedenbach called him one of the best ball handlers that he's ever been around. This guy has been in college basketball a long time.
He's got 7 perfect 4 for 4 from the line. Final 7 seconds. Lawson gets into the paint. Green launches the 3. Green makes the 3. His 5th of the year, and that's the way the first half is going to end. North Carolina dropping to 3. They lead UNC Asheville 56-39, but I think Eddie Biedenbach's got to be pretty pleased with his team. But first, here's Jen Hildreth with Roy Williams. Jen.
Coach, you've talked to your team about keeping their intensity up this year. Sometimes it's tough when you have a big lead. How do you do that in the second half?
Well, they cut into the lead, so I'm going to tell them they cut into it there at the end. But defensively, we had some really good stretches. We lost our people there a couple of times in the last 3 or 4 possessions. But the way to keep the intensity up, and if you don't do it, you come and sit down.
Is there anybody you're looking to specifically that needs to get going?
No, I think for the most part, our whole team at times did it, but for the most part, our whole team didn't do it at times either.
All right, thanks very much, Coach. Ron?
All right, thanks, Jen. Halftime score again, 56-39. Coming up on the other side of the break, it's the Acura Halftime Report. North Carolina held North Carolina Asheville scoreless for 6 minutes and 29 seconds in that opening half, and that allowed them to open up the lead. It is now 56-39. We are just moments away from the start of the second half. Along with Mike Jaminski, I'm Ron Poole, and you look at the numbers, a couple of things stand out. North Carolina rebounding the ball well, and their freshmen are playing outstanding in this game.
No, and they've really been solid, the freshmen who are starting. And rebounding was a concern of Eddie Biedenbach's, and they really dominated them on the offensive glass, and are also shooting a high percentage, so they've been very efficient on the offensive end. And it really started with Brandon Wright. He got things going for this team early on. You see him knocking down the jump shot. Very proficient from about 15 feet. And then he shows the ability to put the ball on the floor. But this is the type of shot that makes your shooting percentage go up. He gets 3 dunks in this game. Really overwhelming UNC Asheville in the paint. 22 points in the paint total for North Carolina in this game.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers. By the way, those freshmen, 35 of the 56 North Carolina points. That's 63%, better than they have done this year. You can see the good shooting by North Carolina, the points in the paint, and the transition points 13-2. Just a moment ago, Jen Hildreth talked to UNC Asheville coach Eddie Biedenbach.
All right, Coach, your team hanging in there, fighting hard. What did you like about the way they played first half?
Well, we fought their pressure pretty good, and we did a job. We have to do a better job on the boards. We didn't run much offense. We got 39 points, which was positive for the amount of offense we ran. But it's hard to run offense the way Carolina pressures you. But we got to do a better job on the boards, and we got to do a better job of just containing them inside. I'm not allowed to talk about. Oh no, I can't talk about officials.
All right, thank you, Coach. Ron?
Spoken as a true North Carolina State grad, right? Eddie, he's a good man. His teams have played better in the second half this whole year. In fact, they've outscored 6 of their 9 opponents in the second half, and 2 of those they only were outscored by 1. And I asked him about it yesterday. He said, well, that's because usually teams have pretty good leads on us and they don't guard us as tough. Let's see if that's the case here in the second half.
That's the mental aspect that Roy Williams was talking about this club in the second half and how they came out. But now he's got options. If he sees anybody who isn't into this game, I guarantee you they're going to be sitting over on the bench next to him.
Terry's looking for Hansbrough on the left block. C.J. Walker on him. Walker with another block, his second of the ball game. What I like about Walker, and you look at the tape on him, Mike, and you will appreciate this, he doesn't just try to swat it up into row J. He tries to tip it so somebody can get it.
Well, and the thing about Hansbrough, too, which is absolutely critical, staying down on the pump fake, and he's long and 7'1", shot blocking is his forte, and he just did a nice job of kind of keeping down on the floor and anticipating the shot.
And Smithson now being guarded by Wayne Ellington. Smithson had a nice first half. Harlan try to go inside. Harold can't get it. Walker tips the rebound. Hansbrough has the pass stolen by James. James over Hansbrough, short arms it. Todd Lawson with the rebound going the other way.
Those are the ones you have to take advantage of. But Vincent James, nice job sitting on that pass.
Rayshon Terry drops the three. He is 3 for 3 beyond the arc, 4 for 4 total tonight.
With James bearing down on him, that was a great concentration on that shot.
Here's that double they worked on yesterday in practice. Whistle and a foul. That'll be on Brandon Wright.
There you see the vision of Lawson trying to see what options he has. Terry knows that if he flares out, his guy was late getting back. He had a good look.
Yeah, we saw Lawson pushing the ball, and Roy Williams really questioned at the beginning of the year whether he's going to be able to push it every play because he likes that. He was hoping he can push it every play. North Carolina wants to play a little bit faster this year.
Well, and where you come from high school and you're so much better than everybody else, you don't have to do that. And that's the adjustment that you have to make playing on the next level.
Lawson will showboat pass. Rayshon Terry having a night. 13 tonight has not missed a shot.
Well, and he had to wait for his teammates. That's how quick he was, but he kept extending the dribble, and it gave time for guys to run up behind him.
Well, North Carolina goes out 5-0 here in the second half. They lead it 61-39. 139, North Carolina leads it. Part of the reason they're able to play faster. Roy Williams isn't sure if they can do that, though.
I don't know if they're capable of doing it or not because I want to play faster than we're playing by far. But everybody says, oh, I want to play that way. I love playing that way. But it's hard to do. And we've got to see if we can do it on a consistent basis throughout the course of the whole season.
Well, and here's the guy, that Lawson is capable of playing that way, but he doesn't understand it yet. And keep in mind, Raymond Felton didn't understand it when Roy Williams first got here, and that was something that he had to learn, and Lawson certainly has the capability to do that now. He's just got to understand what it's like to do on every possession.
Jen Hildreth, add to that.
Well, mostly what I was going to talk about with Ty Lawson is the way he's approached being the point guard of this team when he's gotten the opportunity. A lot of people thought he'd come right in here and take the job right away. Bobby Fraser was certainly working very hard before he had his injuries. But Ty said something which I thought was very interesting and humbling. He said, when I was in high school, it was my team. Now I just run the team on the floor, and that's a pretty important distinction.
Absolutely. For a freshman to have that attitude. He's got 4 assists, by the way. The last 4 games, he's averaged 6 assists. So you can see how comfortable he's becoming as Hansbrough comes back in, Mike.
And I think a little bit easier because there are so many freshmen and sophomores. There's not the big disparity as there were, say, on Duke's team last year where Paulus was asked to come in as a freshman and run a bunch of seniors and 2 All-Americans. So I think there's a little bit more of a comfort level, but I understand the thought process with Lawson.
Only 1 turnover to go along with those 4 assists. Wright lost the handle. Terry's had the hot hand. He's hit 9 of his last 14 three-pointers over the last couple of games. Hansbrough inside. Jay Walker puts up the hand, but Tyler Hansbrough's got 8 in the ball game.
That time he was able to muscle Walker underneath the basket, so he wasn't able to elevate and get, I think it looked like his hand got caught up in the net, and that's what allowed Hansbrough to score over the top.
63-39 our score. North Carolina 3 times over 100 points this year. Walker, they want him to start taking that shot. He does and rattles it home. He's good at defense, but they want him more to produce more offense.
Well, if you're Hansbrough, if you're going to go for that steal, you've got to come up with the ball because then you put your team in a 4-on-5 situation. Here's a look. See, you've got to come up with that play somehow if you're going to go and gamble and you just give your man a wide-open jump shot. Now, Hansbrough is perfectly capable of stealing the basketball, but his gamble cost 2 points that time.
Well, maybe he's thinking back to last year when he had 8 steals against this same team. Ellington out front, Smithson with him. Terry yet to miss a shot. Wright led the team in scoring in the first 20. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Beatenbaugh wants a 3-second call. Ellington, pull-up jumper. Rebound right with the left hand. Whistle and a foul.
That was on C.J. Walker, his third. He fell on the Bulldogs. Brandon White to the line. 2 shots. Hey, big fella, there you go.
Brandon Wright at the free throw line. Foul was on C.J. Walker, his third. He's going to have to come out of the ball game. We're in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The Dean Smith Center for North Carolina taking on North Carolina Asheville along with Mike Jaminski, Jen Hildreth, I'm Ron Thulin. North Carolina took the lead midway through the opening half, led 56-39 at halftime. Now it's 63-41. Wright was the star in the first half. He now has 16 points in the ball game. His season and career high is 21.
The encouraging thing, though, he came in shooting 51% from the free throw line, Ron, but he's got too good of a stroke to be at that number, and he's 5 of 6 so far, or 6 of 7 now in this game. So shooting much better in a game that he can build confidence into the line.
If you're just joining us, we've got the tallest player in college basketball, Kenny George, in. He just lost the handle. Hansbrough gives it up. Ellington to the hole. Count it, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, much better decision by Hansbrough that time. He comes up with the steal, probably a poor entry pass inside, but playing over the top, good sound defense, and then the big fella running the break, getting Ellington the layup.
10 points in the ball game for Wayne Ellington, averaging about 13 a game. The ACC Rookie of the Year back in December, Rookie of the Week in December 5th. He's been in double figures all but 2 games. This is the biggest lead of the game. It goes to 26.
North Carolina now one of the few times in this game really applying full court man-to-man pressure. Wes Miller, a very good defensive player, especially on the ball.
Miller looking to get out of a mild shooting slump. No points the last couple of games. 0 for his last 9. 11 now for him. Wes Miller looks to push. Wright all alone, and the bank is open. Right now with 18 in the ball game. He just makes it look so easy.
Well, sometimes players get stunned when they're that open, that close to the basket, but he's got such a beautiful shot.
Mr. Basketball Tennessee, 3 straight years. And he's got one of the great nicknames we'll tell you about a little bit later. Rayshon Terry to Jaminski, couldn't handle the pass, and it's out of bounds. We'll take a break. 15:35, UNC is running, and they lead it by 26. ACC College Hoops is brought to you by Subway, Eat Fresh, and by Dillard's, the style of your life. Welcome back to the Dean Smith Center. North Carolina outscoring Asheville 13-4 here in the second half. The Tar Heels missing only 2 of their first 7 shots here in the second 20, and Roy Williams reached his 500th career win just about a week ago. Fastest in NCAA history. You can see the National and ACC Coach of the Year. 5 Final Four appearances. Won the national title a couple of seasons ago. And as we take a look at our Dillard's all-time leaders, Dean Smith, 2 ahead of Bob Knight. Bob Knight plays Arkansas today, and for all practical purpose, will pass him in a couple of games.
Texas Tech up 12 in the second half in that game. But consider on that this university has had 3 coaches who have gone over the 500 win mark. Coach Smith leading the way, Frank McGuire, and now Roy Williams, all of whom won national championships here. But I don't know if there's another university in the land that could boast that.
What I like about Roy Williams, look at his career. 16 seasons, his teams have won at least 20 games. That's hard to do, no matter what level.
And before going to Kansas, his only head coaching experience, the JV team here at North Carolina as an assistant to Dean Smith.
He's one of 4 coaches to have 80% of the game's victories. Claire B. Adolph Rupp, John Wooden, the others. This is the 500th win versus High Point. North Carolina won handily, and for the 500th win, he got cake, and he was actually handing out forks. That's how humble this guy is. And he got his jersey with North Carolina 500 on it.
North Carolina just rolling through the Big South Conference.
Big South Conference, not much luck against the ACC. In fact, UNC Asheville 0-43 versus ACC teams. Turnover, might get a little sloppy. Game's up to 26, North Carolina. Harrell, that should be a charge. Yes, it is. Both officials, they did a good job. Mike Wood looked at the underneath official just to make sure they were in agreement.
Well, we talked again the growth of the player, Rayshon Terry stepping up, taking that right on the chest. Good call, good play.
Wes Miller sees the double, gives it off to Wright. Terry, Hansbrough, inside, double pump fake. Rebound controlled by Brett Warner, the junior out of Smyrna, Tennessee. 5.5 gone by here in the second half. Smithson lost the handle. Here they come running again. Ginyard throws it away. Oh, you don't want to see this if you're Roy Williams or if you're Eddie Biedenbach.
Now, game getting a little bit sloppy, but Garland digging back, not conceding that play. Good job defensively, and he gets paid off on the other end.
Well, I tell you what, here's a young man that missed all of last year because of ankle surgery. He's also an outstanding student. He's got 9 points tonight. He's been on the Big South honor roll for 3 years, and he's an outstanding shot there.
I like the fact, too, from the guard position, a very good rebounder. Average 4 coming in.
Ginyard, no. 24-point advantage. Smithson. That's going to be a blocking foul underneath. At the line, it'll be Brian Smithson. Fouls on Wes Miller. That's his first personal.
And that may we've seen it now too. That's, I think, probably the toughest call in college basketball, the block charge call, especially when it happens in transition. Just happens so quickly.
Pac-10 basketball returns to FSN when the 12th-ranked LSU Tigers battle Oregon State in an early season non-conference showdown. Conference will begin at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on FSN. I've had a chance to see John Brady live. I'll be there actually a week from today, I think, and they got a good team down there in the Bayou.
He has been fearless in who he plays non-conference, and we had him in the NCAA tournament last year, and he talked about it. He felt it was a thing that really helped his team later in the year, and he decided, well, let's go at it again. And he has played some tough competition.
I watched him spank Texas A&M, a good Texas A&M team, and handled them pretty well.
They only beat by 2 at the buzzer last year.
Wellington from the outside, rebound. Jay Walker had it and lost it, but UNC Asheville down 69-47, 13:20 to play in the ballgame. Closest they've been in this rivalry between the two, 17 points. Walker on the inside, misses the bunny shot. You got to put that down. And ball will still belong to him.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's 13:07 left to go in this game, but for the whole time, Asheville has really competed. There were a couple of times I thought early in the first half that this team could have gone away, and they have done a nice job out here. And really, the pressure, they've handled the pressure of North Carolina very well.
You play the teams like Duke and North Carolina, and you and I talked about it at the Duke-Davidson game. You've got to forget who's on the front of the jersey at times.
Well, you know what the problem with that, though, Ryan, is that a lot of these kids come from North Carolina.
That's exactly right.
So they grow up with the aura of this program and this gym, and it's tough to negate that.
Eddie Biedenbach telling me yesterday, and we were talking about that. I said, how do you get your guys not to think about this is North Carolina? This is the Smith Center. He said, I'm going to do what one of my old coaches did. And C.J. Walker picks up foul number 4. He says, I take him in, tell him to look around the building, and I say, this building can hold a lot of hay. He says they either laugh or they just doesn't bother him.
Or you can flat out lie to him like Jerry Tarkanian did in the finals in 1980. They were playing in Denver, and his players were concerned about playing at altitude, and he said, don't worry, we'll be inside.
And the funny thing is, parent players believed it.
Yeah, they bought into it and won the title.
Brandon Wright, 18 points in the ball game. Sam Perkins has the freshman field goal record here in North Carolina, 62-6. Brandon Wright's right behind that. He's going to take a little breather at the 12:49 mark. Team up by 23.
Historically, this program has always had bigs who shoot a high percentage. And you've got now on this team, Brandon Wright, Tyler Hansbrough filling that role.
Wright hit 6 of 8 field goals while he was in. Wasserman for the steal, didn't get it. They throw it away instead. Here's Green. Got Ellington on the right. Green lost the handle. That's going to be called for a walk. 10 turnovers in the ball game. Jet Hildreth looks like Roy Williams is a tad unhappy.
Oh, he is not happy over here on the North Carolina sideline. He is yelling at his team to pass the ball. The guys just aren't working it around the offense. They're turning it over. They're dribbling too much. And he needs to see this offensive performance pick it up a little bit here in the second half.
Mike, you've been involved in games like this. What do coaches tell players when you know you have a national championship contender and we just saw 3+ minutes without a field goal? What's he saying?
Well, and this is a game where, again, you're young and then you know, obviously you want to minimize those droughts, but this is the time of the game where you compete against yourself. You don't look at the scoreboard. You come down every possession and you run your offense the way you're supposed to run it. You don't go into your home run trot right now. UNC Asheville is hustling. You know, I don't know if they can come back and win this game. But, you know, for North Carolina, it's way too early to fall asleep. And in fact, too, it's not like you've got seniors running around out there. You've got freshmen. Any court time you have is a learning experience.
Well, they had 5 turnovers, North Carolina did in the first half. They've got 5 turnovers in 7.5 minutes here in the second half. Now here's the pressure by the Tar Heels. Good job.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, that's a great coaching move right there by Roy Williams. If you're sluggish offensively, amp your defense up and get some easy points that way.
August goes inside to George, gives it right back to August. Sean Terry will check back into North Carolina's lineup. Ellington look for Hansbrough underneath for a second. Ellington cutting, falling away. Difficult shot for Wayne Ellington. He's got 13.
That's the thing I like about him. There are a lot of scorers that come out of high school who are 3-point specialists, but he really has got a nice mid-range game.
Here's the Philadelphia Player of the Year award with a guy named Gerald Henderson, now playing up the road at Duke. Inside, Joey Harrell. He drops his 7th point of the game, averages 6 a contest. Well, at least North Carolina threw something down after that 3+ minute drought. Lawson. Hansbrough inside. That's going to be an easy dunk for Tyler Hansbrough. Yes, he's in double digits.
What he's done now, he's out on the perimeter. He caught facing up that time, and then just Kenny George can't stay with him laterally.
Well, you can talk about the good timeout by Roy Williams to do a little chewing on his players. It has paid off. Hansbrough with the slam. 74-49 is the lead with 11:22 to play. Now this North Carolina team, they do a lot of community service, and just the other day they went to a local Target and they decided to do a little shopping. They all got their lists, they went there, and the players, Tyler Hansbrough and company, did some shopping for some underprivileged kids, and of course most of it was North Carolina attire. We did not see anything Duke.
I'm shocked by that.
Yes, we looked. The teddy bears, everything inclusive, and I tell you what, you like seeing that. And Roy Williams is one of those coaches, and there's a lot of them, not only in college basketball, but in college football, that stress values to their players. That, listen, this game's great. You're going to have a fun 4 years here, but there's more to life than this.
Well, and it gives you appreciation of people who are out there who are struggling a little bit, and obviously it gives you, they want to meet you for who you are, but it also gives you a sense of being grounded.
Watching the players even just walk in from the tunnel here in North Carolina, they're like rock stars. Every one of them stops to sign autographs. Lawson didn't get it. Whistle on the drive. We've got a timeout. 11:05 left to play in the ball game. Carolina has gotten their offense back together. They lead at 74-49. And here's our game summary. Brandon Wright, 19 points. Has only missed 2 of 8 field goal attempts. Smithson leading UNC Asheville with 13 points. Hasn't missed a free throw. And about a week ago, faces in the crowd. Sports Illustrated, we take you back to his high school days because Mike Cheminsky was just that. Averaged 40.7 points a game. You won 52 straight, 14 seasons in the NBA. You did average that, really?
Yeah, that was my junior year, which turned out to be my last year in high school, and fortunate enough to have play against Calvin Murphy and get to know him over the years, so that was fun, and I think that record still stands. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but I got a heads up on that article about 3 weeks before from SI. They were looking for an action shot for me in high school. I said, sorry, I can't help you. You've got to call my high school. And they were able to track that down.
When your kids saw the picture, little grief? When your son saw the picture, little grief?
Yeah, I see. He still thinks it's cool.
That's good.
Grief is coming in a couple of years, probably.
You haven't turned into nerd yet.
Yeah, I hadn't made that transition.
Just wait. That'll be the third personal foul on him called. You see Hansbrough going up tough, fighting for the rebound. Crowd didn't like it. Just about halfway home here in the second half. 23-point advantage. Tell you what, UNC Asheville, though, has not stopped competing in this game. James, tough shot over Terry. Wright tipped it, Hansbrough tipped it. Nice job. Terry kept it alive to Ellington, who misses it.
Trying to think, too, if you're going to tip it towards your own basket, and they almost got points as a result.
And we are now inside of 10 minutes. Marcus Ginyard set to check into the lineup for the Tar Heels. And he'll come in. And Ellington will sit down. Ginyard out of Alexandria, Virginia, Bishop O'Connell High School. Also, Brian Smithson will come back in for UNC Asheville. You know, one of the things Eddie Biedenbach does, we were talking to him before the game, Mike, he made a great point. When the turnover will go the other way. He said, listen, I like to play these games because I want our players to say, yeah, these guys are going to be playing in the NBA. We're not good enough, and here's the reason why. He had a philosophy about that.
Well, and also, too, though, it gives them, you know, they're not good enough as freshmen and sophomores, but maybe, you know, if they continue to work at their game as juniors and seniors, that might be a possibility.
Hansbrough with another dunk, and he's got 12 in the ball game. And Eddie Biedenbach's squad now finds themselves down by 25 with 9:35 to play in a ball game.
Well, without C.J. Walker or Kenny George in the game, there's no shot-blocking presence. Walker's had foul trouble, although he's coming back in at this point. So Hansbrough recognizing that and attacking the rim.
As you mentioned, that C.J. Walker up off the bench, he does have 4 personal fouls. Garland out front, Lawson sticking right close to him. Ginyard missed the steal. Smithson wide open for the 3, and he makes him pay.
Another example of North Carolina going for the steal, coming up empty, and it leaves numbers on the other end.
Lawson, and it'll count. The quickness we talked about. He's got 6.
Well, and the thing you like about that, too, this kid's a right-hander, but he's got the ability to beat you both ways. And put it down with the left hand, scored with the left hand. Nice job by Ty Lawson. If you show that you can penetrate both ways, it makes it very difficult to defend you.
Second in the preseason voting for the ACC Rookie of the Year to Georgia Tech's Thaddeus Young. Hansbrough another offensive rebound. Hansbrough's got 8 boards himself tonight. Terry, his first miss. Ginyard can't get it, Smithson does. 24-point advantage. North Carolina. Almost another turnover. It'll be UNC Asheville's ball. Lawson will come out. Wes Miller will come back into the lineup. James looking for somebody who's got to give it to Walker. Bad pass. Ginyard leans in, doesn't get it. Harrell will bring it the other way, up to James.
Those are passes that you can't make against this defense from the baseline back out to half court.
They're not trying to use that left hand to get Deion Thompson off him. We've got a foul. Rayshon Terry picks up his third personal foul.
Trying to battle James in the low post and get around him, but had the hook around his waist.
Do what you can. Brandon Wright will come back in.
Do what you have to do sometimes.
You know, I've been watching Terry on defense. He's playing very physical at times. I mean, he gets after guys. He's got long arms.
Well, it's a very physical presence. And you know, it's the way he should play.
Oh, boy. I thought Rayshon Terry had the steal there. I think they're going to call it on Marcus Ginyard. And it'll be a 1-and-1 as Brandon Wright comes back into the lineup.
Let's go! Let's go!
Look again.
Yeah.
I don't know if Smithson saying that he might have hit him in the face on that reach through. No, he got hit from behind by Ginyard on that play.
Yeah, that's his third. Alex Stevenson will check into the lineup for North Carolina. Smithson at the line.
And this is where this has been one of the positives for Asheville is they've gotten to the free throw line a bunch. As a matter of fact, with these two attempts, will match North Carolina in attempts.
And they're 14 of 16. Smithson hasn't missed one yet.
One shot.
Smithson was 17 in the ball game, 6 for 6 from the stripe. Make it a perfect 7 of 7.
What that does is you get to the free throw line, makes it very difficult for North Carolina to run up. They've got to get into offense or run a secondary break.
And then he commits the foul. They've been trying to space out Brian Smithson's minutes, too. We've seen him go out for 2 or 3 minutes. He picks up his 4th personal foul. Now we're going to see him go out again because Donovan Jones will come back in.
Well, and if you're Eddie Biedenbaugh now, you're coming up on that 8-minute break, so you buy him a little time there. So it's a good opportunity to get him in and get him some rest.
And Wes Miller at the line on the 1-and-1, and he misses the front end. But he'll track down the ball. Wright's been sort of quiet in the second half after an outstanding first 20 minutes. Miller. Wright wasn't expecting that. Not a good possession. And with that, we'll step aside with the timeout. 7:47 to play in the contest. North Carolina trying to go 8-1 on the year. Tar Heels have only outscored the Bulldogs by 5 in the second half, but they lead it by 22, 78-56. Let's take a look at our Dillard's ACC men's basketball standings. And as we talked about, Virginia on top, 5-1. You can see North Carolina 7-1. And they're still looking for their first conference game. Virginia, Boston College, Miami, and of course Wake Forest and Virginia Tech tomorrow.
Maryland righting themselves. A tough loss up at Boston College in early league action, but I thought they had played extremely well early in the year.
Shot clock at 4. Wes Miller looks up. Every shot but one of his has been a 3. That was a non-3, and Brandon Wright cleans it up to get his 21st point of the ball game. That ties his season and career high here at North Carolina.
You know, Ron, we talked about it, and North Carolina's missed 30 shots in this game. But that was their 16th offensive rebound. And these are getting more than half of their misses, and they've converted those into 16 points.
And that's something they've done in the prior 8 games, too.
So that's almost like shooting 75% in a game, and that's just very difficult for UNC Asheville to overcome.
Harrell's shot won't go. Inside of 7 minutes. Jones will set things up. Mentioned the last 6 games, North Carolina averaging about 17 offensive rebounds a game. With 3 on the way, a little too long. Ginyard will track it down.
That was a nice find by Walker to pivot out of that and see your man cross court and give him a good look.
Nice pass inside, whistle and a foul. That'll send Alex Stevenson to the line.
That's not just for this game, Ryan. I mean, you look at this team, they're shooting 51%, which leads the league. And you can see the misses. They've rebounded 121. This is before this game of 247 missed shots, 49%, which is extraordinary.
If you get about, 14 offensive rebounds a game, even on the next level, that's pretty good.
Yep. And you throw that in. The stat I was talking about earlier, this is incredible. This, again, certainly Roy Williams learned a lot from Dean Smith and his time here. In Coach Smith's last 27 years at North Carolina, his teams shot under 50% for the year 4 times.
That's amazing.
And that's what this team is headed towards right now.
Alex Stevenson at the line, averaging just over 2 points a ball game. He's got 6 misses, both free throws. He's only 39% coming into the game. 3 to 13, I should say. They get another offensive board. Stevenson will try it again. Bulldogs had it. They still have it. J.J. Garland spotting up for the 3. James can't get it. Donovan Jones can't get it. Almost 6 minutes to play in the ball game. Lawson back in as they hit. Cosell changes to Ellington with a jam. 15 now for Ellington.
Doesn't look like a freshman backcourt on that play.
4 players in double figures for the Tar Heels and another rebound. No, he doesn't. Those freshmen play with such poise for North Carolina. Here's one of them, Ellington. Stevenson trying to post up now on the right block. Drives a little spin move, lost the handle, still rolled it up for his 8th point of the ball game. For Alex Stevenson, a new season and career high for him. It was 4 coming into this contest.
There has been a concerted effort by North Carolina in the second half to pound it inside. They only won a 3-point shot in the second half, but they have really attacked the Bulldogs inside.
And they're playing some pretty stingy defense also. They're seeing it right there. Another quick rebound. Lawson goes right around the defender. Hansbrough pushing it up, goes inside, still gets the 2, and he'll pay a visit to the line.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a guy in college basketball who finishes with people draped all over him better than Tyler Hansbrough.
He's got 14.
And here's the look again. And Joe, look, I mean, he's trying all he can to keep him from getting the ball up on the rim, and Hansbrough just goes right through him. An arm bar on him, and he still goes up and finishes.
We heard what Jen said at halftime about his work ethic, but he did talk to Coach Williams in the summer about ways to improve. He wanted to improve everything about his game. And one of the things he had to do was more time in the weight room. Wanted him to get stronger so plays like that can happen. He's going to take a breather.
Well, you know, either you improve or everybody catches up to you. And that's the biggest quality that, you know, superstars have is just the thirst to get better every single year, work on something.
Now Mike Copeland is checked into the ball game for the first time, number 40, the sophomore out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, R.J. Reynolds High School. And he picks up the foul. And that's a 1-and-1. C.J. Walker will come back in for UNC Asheville. Hopefully this is only his 3rd game he has played this year. And at the line it'll be Joey Harrell.
Durham product, so he's coming back home, played at Jordan High School. Career high 5 steals in this game last year.
He's got 8, only senior on this team, and we talked to Coach Beaton about him. He says he's a hard worker both on and off the court.
Let's go, y'all. Bounce out. You ain't by yourself.
And the lead is 87-58, 4:45, little pressure by UNC Asheville. Ginyard drives away from it. Oakland on top. Ginyard from about 15 over Walker's outstretched hands. That's a tough shot. He buries it.
Yeah, pretty good ball movement that time.
11 points away from their 4th game at the century mark for North Carolina. And that'll belong to North Carolina. 16 turnovers in the ball game for UNC Asheville. They average just a shade under 16.
And this is what we're seeing in the last 8 minutes or so, the pace of the game finally catching up with UNC Asheville. You just see a lot of tired body language out there, and it's the waves of players that North Carolina can run at you.
Well, the last time they substituted 4 players, Miller from way outside draws air. He's no points the last couple of games. Gonzaga and High Point, he was 0 for 9 from the floor shooting.
Well, he's struggling. I think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to come in and make something happen as soon as he steps on the floor. And it's tough. You know, if you're going to get layups and shoot at point-blank range, that's one thing. But if you're a 3-point shooter, that's very difficult.
Smith's a deep 3-pointer. A little bit short on the jumper. Green the rebound on the outlet. Ginyard's got a clear path for the right-handed slam. And that's going to be a whistle and a foul on Danny Green, who doesn't believe it. We've got a timeout, 3:36 to play in the contest. North Carolina on top handily. This is the most points given up by UNC Asheville this year. North Carolina leads it 91-58, and the main reason, the play of the freshmen tonight. You've had everybody hit. Ellington has hit, Brandon Wright has hit, Ty Lawson has shown us his speed tonight. And I'll tell you, these guys have an incredible future, not only this year, but years to come. Here's Jen Hildreth with more.
Those guys are quite a unit on the floor. Believe it or not, they are also roommates. They share a suite with freshman forward Alex Stevenson as well. And, you know, you get to know a lot about each other, including some telling nicknames when you live together. Lawson is little kid because he runs around and wreaks havoc wherever he goes. It often leaves the stereo on, loud, even when he's not there. Ellington they call old man because he shows up to practice all nice and neat, shirt tucked in, goes to bed by 9. Now, Wright's the interesting one. Mothman, that was given to him by the strength coach here at UNC. Ron, you want to take that one? Explain that a little bit? We'll leave that to you.
It's actually from a book by John Keels, which turned into a Richard Gere movie that Mike Jaminski and I both agreed it was a weird movie. Bizarre movie.
Yeah, I thought Mothman Prophecy. I thought it was a reference to my closet. But yeah, that was a strange. Richard Gere's done some. Oh, we're not going to start talking about movies.
No, well, that's Mothman right there. Mothman Prophecies was the name of the book. Jen, you have more?
Well, just to explain a little bit, the reason for the nickname is because evidently Mothman had a very large wingspan, as obviously does Wright. He told me the other day, get this, G-Man, he told me it was 7'5", which I think is a couple inches more than when we measured you the other day.
Yeah, well, I don't want people knowing that you know my wingspan, but yes, it's 7'3.5", I think, is how we measured out.
But he plays 7'4". Shot clock at 7, and we've got a whistle and a foul. I think it'll be on Deion Thompson or Wes Miller. It'll be on Deion Thompson.
And those are all the measurements that I want Jen Hildreth giving out about me on the air.
Absolutely. Well, just a reminder, tomorrow ACC Sunday Night Hoops returns when the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on Virginia Tech. Clash between conference rivals. Coverage begins at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, right here on FSN.
Seth Greenberg just hoping, and so far it has been just for an event-free year for the Hokies. Went through so much on and off the court last year with health issues on the team and with family members.
Garland gets the second one. He's got 11 points in the ball game in our final 2:45, and they turn it over. Smithson and Garland working on Copeland. Smithson with a left hand. He's got 20 in the ball game. He's had a nice game.
Well, you just hope that hamstring doesn't linger with him, and he could have a special year in conference this year.
Oakland's jumper won't go. Warner tipped it. It'll belong to North Carolina. They're going to go to their bench. Starters are going to get some rest. Dewey Burke, number 15, will check into the lineup. Also, Surrey Wood, number 24, will make an appearance for North Carolina. Wood, only his 4th game played this year. Freshman, 54 points tonight, Mike, for North Carolina.
Well, that's the thing. In high-scoring games last year, these guys would have gotten on the floor a lot earlier, but that just shows you the depth of this North Carolina team. Roy Williams has got to develop the guys like Stevenson and Copeland, the freshmen who haven't been getting a lot of playing time.
And Wes Miller still going through the shooting woes. 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. Inside of 2 minutes to play. Carlo can't get it. Warner tries to battle inside. He walked with it. Will go the other way. With 1:52 to play, 17 turnovers now for UNC Asheville. Asheville will be at East Tennessee State coming up in about 3 days. Eddie Beatonbaugh's squad. They have got a hellacious schedule coming up.
About 5 straight road games during this Christmas break.
Including South Carolina and Louisville. Here's Jones. We've got a foul. That's going to be on North Carolina. Here's the schedule for Eddie Beatonbaugh. Next 5 games at North Carolina, East Tennessee State, South Carolina State. Then they've got to go to South Carolina, then at Louisville. You know, it's good money for the institution, though. That's one of the reasons you play that schedule.
Oh, no question about it. But and also, they picked 6th in an 18 conference. I think they've got a chance if they get healthy and stay healthy to play very well. And that's obviously what the aim is for Eddie Beatonbaugh once Big South conference play begins.
They have to stay within his offense. I mean, that's one of the things that we talked about yesterday. So when we play the offense, we have a chance. Up. West just couldn't get the hands quick on it. 1:23, they turn it over for the 12th time. 23 left in the ball game, up comfortably by 31. Final minute and 20. For our viewers in Florida, Chicago, the Southwest, and Southern California, you'll be leaving us in a moment for your next live game, and we hope you enjoy that. .107 to play in the ball game. Jones looking for somebody. Smith from Sweden, the first player to play for UNC Asheville from Sweden. Well, that Christmas present was knocked from out under the tree.
There's the replay again. A nice little pass inside and a cut, but a great follow from behind. Good pursuit defensively.
Danny Green, good job. Rebound controlled by Surrey Wood. Final 40 seconds. Huey Burke for three. The southpaw can't get it. Jones the rebound. Miller is back. Jones, scoop shot. No, that's going to be a blocking foul. That'll be on Wes Miller with 30 seconds left to play. And at the line, it'll be Jones. College football's greatest bowl games come to Fox, beginning with the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, followed by the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, the FedEx Orange Bowl, the Allstate Sugar Bowl, and concluding with the Tostitos BCS National Championship game, of course, between Florida and Ohio State. The BCS Bowl Bash comes to Fox, all beginning on New Year's Day. And that's going to be a dandy. That'll be one of those bowl matchups, outstanding. Huey Burke thinking to shoot it, took his eyes off it. Surrey Wood, no. Fans were hoping.
Desperately want to get those two guys in the scoring column.
Final 4 seconds. Bug loose on the rug. Wood's fighting for it with .6 left.
That gets a nice applause from Roy Williams. You like those hustle plays? Arrow goes to North Carolina. Nice little pre-holiday win for the Tar Heels.
Absolutely. North Carolina go to 8-1. They've now won 5 in a row. UNC Asheville falls to 4-6. As Roy Williams picks up win number 501. His freshman showed us something tonight, and this team's only going to get better. Once again, our final score, North Carolina wins it 93-62. Join us for more great ACC action tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern when the Wake Forest Demon Deacons travel to Virginia Tech to take on the Hokies on ACC Sunday Night Hoops. For Mike Jaminski, Jen Hildreth, and our entire crew in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, I'm Ron Thulin saying good afternoon from Chapel Hill.